Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to Kottabos Space Program, where today we are having a look at yet another wonderful mod, this time in the form of the SpaceY Expanded Parts Pack, which is being made by forum user Necrobones, and I've gotta come clean here with you guys. I almost completely skipped this one by. If it wouldn't have been for you lovely viewers, I would have just assumed that this mod was the original SpaceY Heavy Lifters mod rebranded. That happens occasionally with the mods. They'll change their names and just rebrand themselves. And when I saw this on the forum earlier in the month, I just saw the name SpaceY and assumed it was the same thing that we had already looked at ages ago. But a couple of you glorious viewers sort of prodded me to take a look at it, so I did take a closer look, and yes, indeed, SpaceY Expanded is a completely separate parts pack to the SpaceY Heavy Lifter, and it's just beautiful. Oh, so beautiful. Now, the original SpaceY Heavy Lifter pack was, well, made for creating heavy lifters. It gave you a lot of good, really big rocket parts for making big things to haul bigger stuff into space, and it was wonderful. This SpaceY Expanded takes it to the next level by giving you bigger parts for making even bigger ships of the 7.5 meter variety, and that is wonderful. So let's jump right on into the VAB and have a gander at the parts that are added in. Now, for size comparison, we're going to grab a tiny little Mark 1 command pod and sort of scroll up a bit, because we're going to need it, because, like I said, 7.5 meter size rockets, these are going to be big, and thankfully, good old Necrobones does take advantage of the manufacturers tab, so we have everything in this handy-dandy SpaceY Technologies Corporation. And yeah, we can just go from here, and we'll start our first part with the only probe core in this mod pack. So it's the only command pod of any form is the SpaceY Stack Guidance System. It has, of course, an unmanned command pod built in, reaction wheel, SAS, and 24,000 electric charge. You may be saying that's a lot of battery, and well, that's a lot of probe core. Look at the size of this freaking thing compared to that capsule. The capsule is smaller than that hole in the center of this thing. So it doesn't seem quite so crazy that this is 24,000 electrical charge. Oh, this should give you a good idea of how large the rest of this crap is going to be today. And again, it's beautiful. So, yes, this is the SpaceY Stack Guidance System, a lovely little inline drone core, so for all of your large-scale launch needs. Alright, that's enough from that one. Let's start back up at the top then, and also we'll probably need to zoom out a little bit and take a look up at the top at the SpaceY A7-2-V11 or II or -7, however you want to put it, interstage thrust plate. And this is a pretty cool little thing. It is, again, 7.5 meter variety, freaking huge. Love the texturing on this thing, and I zoomed out the wrong way. Very, very cool indeed on the texturing of it. Very, very nice on the modeling. And this is basically to allow you to make your own sort of engine clusters. And I love this one because, well, you can fit a crap load of rockets down here. And yeah, that's sort of the purpose. Now, you'll notice it does have an attachment point down here. So once you do build your own little cluster of engines, you just pop that down. You will get the fairings along the side, which is very handy. Though, I've got to admit here, on testing these fairings don't hold on quite so well. They will hold the ship together, but they create sort of a weak joint that allows the ship to bend a little bit, so possibly something for Necrobones to look at in the future, but still quite useful. So far, when I've been playing around with these, I've had these as the very bottom section of my ship because of that joint issue, and they make for quite a fun little lower stage section, because, well, look at that. It's a lot of engines you can shove down there. And overall, just quite a cool little piece. Now, the next one we have is another little adapter here, but this one has just 2 engine adapters for the large engines that come with this mod, or the similarly large engines that are in the original SpaceY Heavy Lifters mod. And yeah, so you just get 2 very, Very nice little engine ports there. And again, you can connect another section down below, but it will be a little bit weak. Similar texturing and modeling to the first one. All quite nice. Now the next one can either be used as a engine mount for a singular large engine or as a stage adapter. So it can go down from the 7.5 meter to 5 meters. And indeed, that is sort of the adapter purpose of this particular piece. But you could also use it as an engine adapter here as well to shove on, I believe, one of these. Oh nope, that's still a 7.5 meter engine. We'll get to those later. And yes, lovely little adapter part. Now the next is the SpaceY A7-5 structural adapter. This one is, you know, your typical adapter. Again, it'll go from 5 meters to 7.5 meters and is just a bit nice and tall and beautifully hollow compared to this much thinner adapter here. And I quite like it, especially the internal texturing of this. The external, meh, it's sort of bland and just there, but that internal, that is just gorgeous. Look at that detail in there. It is beautiful. But yes, a glorious little adapter. Now, the next is our first engine. They're kind of scattered about in here. This is the SpaceY BFR-9 Omega Ratite engine cluster. And holy crap, this thing's beautiful. Now, first stats: alternator, of course, creating electric charge. Engine having a thrust of 18,093 in atmosphere, 19,800 in vacuum, and engine ISP of 265 in atmosphere, 290 in vacuum, and it consumes a crap load of fuel at 626 roughly liquid fuel per second, 765 oxidizer per second, and it does have gimbaling, which is quite convenient. And this thing, 7.5 meters in size, and it's just gorgeous. I really like this engine. I think this may be my favorite engine in this mod pack, purely because, honestly, the number of engines in it, it's just magnificent. I do quite enjoy it. The modeling and texturing is good, a little bit bland, honestly, compared to some of the other engines in here, but it's a perfectly serviceable part, very nicely done. I quite enjoy it. We still have that probe core over there. Okay, so on to the next thing. Now, this is a nose cone, which can hold a crap load of fuel, specifically 7,290 liquid fuel and 8,910 oxidizer. That was kind of an odd way to say those numbers, but hey, there we go. A giant nose cone. Just look at that thing compared to that capsule. My God, it's ginormous. And I love it. And again, the exterior it's, you know, nice, decent modeling and texturing, but it's these interiors I keep finding myself being drawn to. They're just so beautifully detailed with the structure, supports, and everything. I do quite enjoy it. But yes, that is the fueled nose cone. Now, the next is a very, very large liquid fuel tank holding 51,840 liquid fuel, 63,360 oxidizer. And it's, again, huge. It just dwarfs everything in this facility, which is just beautiful. I love this thing, and it is, of course, the largest of the fuel tanks for this mod. Now, the next one is the smallest of the fuel tanks for this mod. Well, at least the smallest sort of straight edge inline cylinders, and this one holds a total liquid fuel of 12,960 and oxidizer of 15,840. And again, quite nice on the modeling, quite good on the texturing. I'd actually like the exterior of this one a bit more, just because it does have that those sort of ridges to it. It's very, very cool indeed. Let's pop that out and go to the next, which is the sort of middle ground of the inline fuel tanks here. The SpaceY BFT-57 fuel tank holding 25,920 liquid fuel, 31,680 oxidizer. And again, beautiful exterior, beautiful texturing to it. Very, very nice fuel tank overall. And ginormous. I do enjoy it. Now we move on to a couple of extra engines here. The SpaceY E1 EMU, which is, I believe, the smallest of the engines. This one might be a runner for its money. Oh, no, wait, no, this one's smaller. Never mind. Yes, the EMU, Very nice one. Alternator as always. Atmospheric thrust of 5,571. Vacuum of 6,000. ISP of 260 atmosphere, 280 vacuum. And uses roughly 196 liquid fuel per second, 240 oxidizer per second. Gimbaling, which is quite nice. And overall, just a beautiful engine. I love the size of it. It is gigantic. Very good texturing. Very good modeling. Very enjoyable. Very powerful engine. Now the next one is simply 2 emus, just sort of strapped together. And there we go, for the 7.5 meter size variety. It's essentially this model attached to this model is essentially all this is, but it makes it an individual singular part, so, you know, keep the part count down for your ship. And this one, alternator as always, engine thrust of 10,947 atmosphere, 12,000 vacuum, ISP of 260 atmosphere, 285 vacuum, and liquid fuel it consumes at a rate of 386 per second, and oxidizer 472. Beautiful, beautiful double emu. How could you not love it? Now the next, it gets even better. It's a quad emu, which again is just sort of a mix of this part of the emu engine part and then another part that we have down here. And yeah, but again, it saves on part count, so I'm not going to complain. And overall, this baby has a thrust of 22,285 in atmosphere, 24,000 vacuum, engine ISP of 260 atmosphere, 280 vacuum, and consumes a whopping 786 liquid fuel per second and 961 oxidizer per second. Very, very cool, gigantic engine. Gotta love it. Alright, the next we have another fuel tank, and this one is an adapter as well, which goes from 5 meters to 7.5, and it holds quite a bit of fuel at 9,720 liquid fuel, 11,880 on the oxidizer. Let's sort of speed this up a bit, because we are now only halfway through. This one is an interesting little fuel tank. It's a bit more rounded of a fuel tank adapter, but again goes from 5 meters to 7.5 meters, and this one holds 12,960 liquid fuel and 15,840 oxidizer. A little bit bulbous, but I like it. Got a good look to it. Alright, the next we have is a protective fairing of the 7.5 meter size variety, so we could create a lovely fairing for our little command pod in there, and my god, that command pod has a whole lot of room. Beautiful, beautiful fairing, perfect size for this huge rocket. We then, of course, have a 7.5 meter heat shield for anything you want to send back to Earth with this stuff. Again, it's just freaking massive, and it's glorious, but it's just also a super-sized heat shield. And the next part, we're back to the engines, the SpaceY P1 Penguin vacuum engine. Beautiful. Love the design of this one. Very, very cool engine indeed. Very nice on the texturing, modeling, all good. And this one has a thrust of, atmospheric thrust of 384, vacuum of 600, ISP of 250 atmosphere, 390 vacuum, and comparatively to many of these other engines, sips fuel at 14 liquid fuel per second and 17 oxidizer per second. Kind of tripped over my words there for a second there. Next we have is the dual Penguin. Again, we're just going to be going in 2 and then 4 varieties here. So this one of the 2 variety of the Penguin has a thrust of 615 atmosphere, 1200 vacuum, 200 ISP at atmosphere, 390 of vacuum ISP, and liquid fuel of 28 per second, oxidizer of 34 per second. Very cool. The next one is the Quad vacuum engine. This one I like a bit more as a quad engine because the design is quite gorgeous here. You kind of have it's not a symmetrical 4 like you tend to get with say the Emu here. It's a bit more unique. I quite enjoy it. Fairly large amount. My god, I am tripping over my words here now. But yes, the Quad Penguin vacuum engine has a thrust of 1230 atmosphere, 2400 vacuum, engine ISP of 200 atmosphere, 390 vacuum, and consumes 56 liquid fuel per second and 69 oxidizer per second. Very cool engine. Quite possibly my favorite one of them for looks. Because again, I like that non-symmetrical design to it. It's very, very intriguing to me. Now, the next bit we have is several different sizes of service bays. We have a 3.75 meter service bay, a 5 meter service bay, and also a 7.5 meter service bay. Nothing too special about any of these. They are, after all, just service bays. But they do open, and you know me and animations, I'm a sucker for them. But yes, they are, in the end, just a couple of service bays, but very good, very cool. We already looked at the guidance system, so the next is the vernier thruster. I don't know if I pronounced that right in the slightest, but there we go. It is a small RCS thruster that uses liquid fuel and oxidizer instead of the typical monopropellant, and it has a thrust of 100 and ISP of 180 atmosphere 260 vacuum. A quite nice little RCS thruster, very useful for these gigantic engines because it's, well, a better thruster than our typical monopropellant ones that we have, so very good indeed. Now, the last two parts here, we have another adapter. This is a stack quad adapter, which, boom, there we go, takes you from the 7.5 meter size down to 4 engines. Oh, actually, never mind. I think we have a... oh, no, I take what I was about to say back. I thought maybe this little circle in here had an attachment point, but it does not. We just have the 4 main attachment points there for engines. But still, very cool. And then the last piece is the 7.5 meter stack decoupler. And again, just beautifully huge, and I love the modeling on it. I love all the structure to it, and has a pretty beautiful ejection force of 1,000. So let's take a look at some of this stuff in action now that we are, oh boy, quite a ways into the episode already. So the first one I want to look at is an engine test. I built this earlier. Oh my god, we're just inside of this thing now. And this monstrosity is to take a look at all of the engines that are added in by this, including the little vernier thrusters. So let's go and launch this baby and take a look at how all of their particle effects do appear in-game. Now, testing them like this, we are going to have a slight problem because, of course, the particles for the smoke is just going to collect somewhere over here, so we're going to end up with little clouds of them, but overall I think we should be good. So let's start with the Omega Ratite engine here, the central one. Activate it. Beautiful little particle effect. There are the smoke particles collecting in an orb, as I thought they would. Let's thrust it up. Very nice thruster particle. Not too special, really, but very good nonetheless. And I just love the look of the thing, because, again, just so many little engines, all with their own thrust. Very good indeed. Let's just switch that one off. Then let's go over to the glorious emus. Start with this one. At half thrust, and even at half thrust, that particle effect for the thrust is sort of at the tip of the smoke particles. So if we thrust up, ooh, look at that thing go outward. That is a big flame, but a comparatively quiet engine compared to the Omega Ratite, at least. So let's bring it back down to half throttle and shut that baby down. Then go to the dual emu. There we go. Again, just sort of similar particle effects for the flame. Throttle all the way up, going straight through. Very good indeed. Alright, cut that one off. Oh, this one's going to have a lot of thrust. This may move the structure. Oh, moved it a little bit. Not too bad after all. Alright, so there we go. Just a nice little 4 of the same particle effects from the other emus. Very good, very effective. A lot of smoke. Alright, so let's take a look at our lovely little penguin vacuum engine, see what that looks like. A much, much smaller particle effect comparatively. Let's bring it all the way to full thrust. Oh yeah, compared to the others, I mean, this one is meant for, it is a vacuum engine, so not exactly the humongous thrust that we're getting with the emus there. But very cool, very nice indeed. Let's just start at full throttle for the dual penguin. Very nice, very good. Okay, nothing too special comparatively. And then lastly, the quad penguin rather, which again, I just love that non-symmetrical design. It's just gorgeous. All right, and that is, well, all of them. I just kind of want to turn them on to see what happens. We do have a lot of thrust in all of these combined things. Oh, there we go. There we go. My computer's gonna crap out from all the particle effects. Oh, it's gorgeous. It looks like a nuclear bomb went off sideways. I love it. Right, I want to throttle this thing down real quick just because I want to let the particles clear. There we go, and 3, 2, 1, blast off! Yeah, it does actually kind of look like a mushroom cloud. We have nuked the facility, and release! I don't know why I thought that was a good idea, but you know what? Worth it. We no longer have a launch pad. Let's just revert to the vehicle assembly building and have the launch pad magically fixed while we launch up a rocket I built earlier, which I have no idea how well it's actually gonna fly. Oh god, where did it go? Oh, there it is. The Goliath. I literally just put together random bits and pieces from this mod to create this just behemoth of a rocket. It's humongous, and I love it. So let's see if it can actually fly. Again, I haven't tested this thing. I just kind of threw it together. Let's see how it works, and see how the SpaceY Expanded mod can function off of very, very little knowledge. All right, let's just throttle up, and 3, 2, 1, blast off. And it's a little wobbly. But surprisingly smooth. We are sort of angling a bit. Let's counteract that. Also, it's bending. Oh yeah, I built a quality rocket here, folks. Quality indeed. Oh yeah, that is really bending. Let's just throttle this engine down and check out the next engine cluster. Oh god, what engines did I put? I put the Penguin. That is a vacuum engine that doesn't have gimbaling. So I have no control over this craft right now. But surprisingly, this vacuum engine is actually getting us altitude. I guess with 4 of them, it is producing quite a bit of thrust there. There we go. Let's just throttle that one down and take a look at the last of them, which I believe is the dual emu. Yes, the dual emu. Now this one does have gimbaling, so I should have a little bit of control. But I also just realized, again, I literally made this in like just a couple of minutes by slapping together some parts. This is a fueled nose cone. Oh, actually, I figured that would weigh it down, but it seems to have drained from. Oh, nope. It does have weight issues. Oh, beautiful. All right, when that fuel tank drained, it just flipped around and now it is uncontrollable. Beautiful. I like it. I've made a quality rocket here today, but again, made it in just a couple of minutes just by throwing random rocket parts together to see how they'd work, and quite frankly, I am perfectly happy with that. But yes, that has been the SpaceY Expanded Parts Pack. If you would like to take a look at it for yourselves, you could check out the link in the description, as always, and I definitely say to give it a go, because my god, these 7.5 meter rockets are beautiful. I can only imagine the type of ships that I can get into space now with these. Now, granted, it is also going to be slightly problematic for some launches. If we revert back to launch, if you have anything more than just the single stack here, size starts to become an issue. Say if you had 4 stacks, it would basically be spilling over the edge of the launch pad. But maybe that's okay for you. But yes, definitely give it a go, and if you build any cool rockets with it, I would absolutely love to see them. Tweet me a pic, or Google Plus, or Facebook, or however you'd like to send it to me. I would love to see them. And yeah, definitely go and check this mod out. It is just beautiful. But yes, I hope you all have enjoyed today, and of course that you do come back for the next episode, when we will hopefully be looking at yet another wonderful mod. But until then, thank you for watching, my friends, and as always, have a good one.